Alrighty, here we are again. We're going to do a very similar one to the last one, except we're going to give these objects height now. So instead of just rods coming forward, all again in one point, we're going to have three objects that are also parallel to each other coming straight forward, but we're doing it to one point, so they're still going to converge toward the 1 point vanishing point. We're going to do some standing fins, like the back of airplane wings, or the standing fin, the tail wing, let's say. So I'll go ahead and establish my first rod type shape. Let's say about here. And I'll call that A. It's the front of A. Okay, so first I establish the length. That's random. But I'm also going to apply a vertical to the rear. We'll see what I'm doing in a minute. Going a little bit above our horizon line. And apply another point. So that has a particular height, and then I'm going to close it out. So we've got a standing triangle now. And I'll go ahead and fill that in with blue. Okay, real quick. So that's our shape. Imagine it's transparent and it's a standing fin. And let's say I want another rod forward from that that also has a tail coming out of it. So it's going to make a fin or a triangular shape as well. So that one will be coming this way. Perspective. So I'm going to say that one's front is here. So it's just a projection from the 1 point vanishing point. And I want to make it clear that this one also came from there. Let me just trail it back there. Okay, so now we have a completed fin, fin A. Completely randomly drawn in size, just what I decided to do, just as a good demonstration. Now, I'm going to take the front of the second fin. So I first want to reference the actual depth of what the fin is, because remember, all these fins are lined up together if we were to be straight above, all parallel, and they're all going back here to that 1 point vanishing point when we get into this perspective scene. But I still need to find equal length to this up front, further forward. So how do I do that? Pretty simple. Now that we're getting used to it, I'm going to do, this is B, and I'm going to take new line B, what's representing the front of it, going through the previously established fin front A. I'll just make an arrow, and that gives me reference point number 1 again, because we want to go through there. Now I simply come back, as you know, through the back of the original triangle. To here. And that gives me the length of the rod B as it projects forward from this position. More forward than triangle A or rod A in the picture plane. So don't get confused, this is totally separate now. We drew that independently, completely randomly, but then we decided we want 2 to 3 other fins, probably just 2 others, that are of the same length and depth and height as triangles. So I completely started referencing B once I randomly decided I wanted B placed here, which is a random decision. I then can start matching its depth here. It's rod B. Now we're going to come up and we're going to say clearly there's a vertical coming off the back of the second fin or triangle B as well, in the same way it did in A. So we'll just draw a vertical higher than we need. And then how do we reference the height? Same thing. Now I've got the height of the back fin or the back plane of triangle A. I can simply use that to reference how high this one needs to be forward of it by going back to the reference point. going through rod A, continuing on till I strike the vertical of back of B, and I've got it. So that gives me the height of triangle B. I got to close it off now, and I'll make that one red because we did that second. It's more foreshortened as well. So there is triangle B. Let me make that clear. So that shape, if it was made of transparent plexiglass or tinted color plexiglass, that would be that. So now we can understand that reference points not only help us with scuttling across the ground plane like in the previous diagrams, but it also just as easily, for many things in perspectives, of course, can give us height as well. Because remember, these planes disappear back to an infinite space or vanishing point, but we're calling them reference points. Okay? So now we have A and B. So we could say that triangle B was referenced completely, once we found its front position randomly, was referenced completely from triangle A. And now we're going to set, a second triangle. A third triangle. And I'm going to randomly place that over here. And it's not going to be nearly as far forward. That's going to be farther back in space. Let's say I want to start the back of it here and bring it forward. So here's the back of a triangle, a good deal back from that. Okay? I'm going to first find its length of the rod coming forward to match these, because remember, all three of these triangles are the same size in different positions from forward to back, but all parallel to each other. So this one's further back, the second one's further up, the other one's over here, but they're all parallel to each other, and they're also all the same size. Okay? So I'll go ahead, and it's more convenient for me to use B to reference C. So we'll call this one C, and then we'll take the back of B. Why? Because we're representing the beginning of a new triangle coming forward, and we're representing the back of it first. So we need to use the back of the triangle we're going to reference from. So I'll go ahead and go from the back of triangle B, go through the beginning of C, all the way to the horizon line again, and that will give me a reference point. We'll call that reference point number 2 for our purposes here. Okay, that reference point then can be taken all the way back to the front of B, and where that intersects the plane coming forward for C, we'll get that. So let me draw that on the way back here. So the arrows help, and that's it. So that's not very big, is it? Because it's back in space quite a ways. So that's only that tall. Deep. So we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and draw the back. Oops. We'll go ahead and draw, let me clean that up a bit. Make that clearer. That's the back of C now, triangle C. Go straight up. We don't know where to cut it off yet because we haven't referenced it, right? So let me get out of your way. Okay. Now we can say, oh, well, I could, if I used B to reference C, I can also use the top corner of B to reference back to reference point 2 and cut across. So in a sense, I can go like this, through there, and that gives me the height of C because it cuts across it. So essentially, we first got B by referencing A, and now we're also getting C by referencing B. You could technically get C by referencing A, but that would bring you much further over here out of picture. And as we mentioned in the previous diagrams, why not, use what you got to be more convenient in the picture and not have to go so far. So essentially now let's close off that third triangle, triangle C. We've got its height now, right there. Its front, its back, so let's close it off. And we'll also shade that in as blue. That's fairly foreshortened, and of course we could put another in there if we wished. Not a problem. We could still use B to reference that. We could bring one over here if you wanted to. That makes the point, but let's put another one in for the heck of it, just to say, well, all right, if anybody's confused, let's bring start one right here. Try one out a bit. So, all right, so we'll use the vanishing point right there. Remember, that's our original vanishing point. Shuttle it forward. Okay? And where does that bring me? Well, that brings us fairly far out, but you know, let's try it. I'll still use B again, and I'll quickly reference this last triangle. D, I just decided the back of it's here, so I'll randomly say, all right, that brings me to here, all the way out there for a reference point, real quick. Reference point number 3. All right. Then if I come back from the reference point to the front of B again, that gives me the depth of D by coming back. Now this can get confusing, so that's why the videos you can pause and go back and take careful notes, because I'm going to carefully go through the order again. So for your notes and how you're writing, if you're writing on your notes here in lines, I would just rule lines here. Then I'll carefully step back about what came first, and you can just keep pausing until you have all those notes written. Okay? So now we've got the depth of D, so I'll make the front and the back as a rod. We'll go ahead and make that back come up as well. And again, I can just reference here again. And I can reference B, the top of B. Now I have to go all the way over to reference point 3 to use that one. There's the top right there. It's confusing. I know it meets there, but you know what? If you understand this and you can look through things, that's how you understand it. And we'll tone that one in red for D. And there is our referenced fourth object, D, which was referenced again from B. Could have done it from C, but it would have taken us over here and gone through the other object, so I decided to do B again to D. It was pretty convenient. So again, to make it clear, we got the top of B to get the top of D. So let me make that go like that. Little arrow. Get my head in the way here. Gotta keep remembering that. Okay. That reference point gives us the top. So let's go through it again. We've got 4 standing triangles now. They're all the same size, but they're in different positions on the picture plane, like some of the previous diagrams. We started with A as a standing fin or triangle, and we totally established it randomly and decided on its size compositionally. To then say we wanted similar size fins also, I went ahead and referenced B from A. After I'd referenced B, I then referenced C and B randomly decided. And B was also randomly decided in position. A was randomly decided. They all were after the last one was finished. So B was randomly decided and then finished. Then C was randomly decided on the back side, and I went from back B through new back of C to get reference point 2. So we got reference point 1 from referencing beginning of B from established A. That was reference point 1. We got reference point 2 from wanting the back of C randomly just coming forward. This, going through this, gave us reference point 2. By coming forward to the front of B, striking across the plane coming forward for C, we got its depth. And we also went from B's height to reference point 2 to cut across and get C's height. Okay? And again, play this back a few times till you get it. Once it snaps into your mind, you'll get it. Take a few notes, make them worded really concisely and clear. Don't go nuts with the notes. It's a visual thing. So I encourage you to take notes, but I'm not going to take the time to write them out. I'm going to repeat clearly verbally what's going on, and I want you to extrapolate your words for correct behavior by playing the tape back or the video back and getting it correct with as few words as you can correctly, but it's the visual idea I want you to memorize and that 3-dimensional platform to start sewing into your head, basically. Then, from C, I didn't really want to reference D from C. It wasn't as convenient. I'd have to go way over here. So I went ahead and used B again and completely referenced D from B again, creating reference point 3. So go ahead and review, and that's pretty much showing you that reference points on the horizon line or created on the horizon line can help with height just as well as they help with some of these depth issues in the past diagrams. Okay? So that's about it for this one. Just 4 standing triangles, all referenced from A. B was made from A, and then C was made from B, and then D was also made from B. Okay? All right.